Well, howdy all you collector car fans out there. This is Jason, once again, the owner and founder of Southern Bush Motorsports. I just wanted to take a second to thank everyone for coming by and watching the videos and liking them and stuff. I'll say it again. I've said it in a few of the other videos, but I actually wrote a book after my career in this business, and it was called Tales from the Bush. And I tried to get it published, and it was very hard to self-publish at that time. And I kind of just put it in the back burner, and it was a girl that worked with me that saw the book one day, and she's like, you ought to start a YouTube channel so people can see it. So, yeah, I don't have video. It's all pictures, because back in the day, digital was so new that if I had these memory cards, I could take two 30-second video, and it killed the card, or I could take a couple hundred pictures. And when you're out in the field, it doesn't matter how many memory cards you have. At the end of the day, you know what? My decision was to take pictures, so that's why we're at where we're at. Lots of comments about that, and I really do appreciate all the comments, all the good and bad. Some of you could probably keep some of your comments to yourself, but hey, you just can't help yourself. So we're looking at a bit of an oddball car. Now, I don't remember taking these pictures. If I have them, it's somebody that sent me the pictures or wanted me to help them sell the car or was looking for advice. Either way, this is a cool car. This is a 1971 Challenger RT 340 shaker hood. That's right, I said shaker hood. I thought this was the weirdest dog of all. I have never seen a 340 4-barrel shaker hood cougar. It's right there. N96. It's on that fender tag. What a weirdo. What a cool car. I had never actually seen one before. Who checks that box? Whoever checks that box? Look at that interior. Here's the craziest thing about this car. Completely untouched. Total survivor. I don't know if it's original paint. I'm going with it is original paint. But it's still an untouched survivor car. Look at that. That's a 4-barrel underneath there. That's a 340 4-barrel. You ever seen one of those before? I don't think so. So is this the rarest car in the world? No, but I love this thing. This thing is so cool. Nothing fancy about it, but just put yourself back in time when you're at the dealership, because this wasn't a car that just came from the factory like this. Somebody had to have ordered this car. I check this box, I'll check that box, I'll check this box. This is a 71 340 RT 4-barrel shaker hood Challenger. Who does that? It's mind-blowing. Look at that fender tag. That is a full fender tag. I think I'll show a picture in a minute of the breakdown of that fender tag. You might want to pause it because it's got light fruit packages and it's got so many really cool things on it. And you also got to remember, when you look at how thin the paint is and how scuffed up it is, this really does look like a survivor car. That does look like the original paint, because it's definitely it shows all the telltale signs of it being original paint, because it's thinned out in certain areas, and some areas you can tell that thing, there's no way this thing has been restored, and that's what makes it really cool for me. I really like this car, and yeah, it is only a 340 car, but I'll tell you what, I'd be happy to have this car. Like I said, I can't remember. I'm sure it was a guy that, if I do remember right, I'm sure it was a guy that wanted me to help him out with the car. I think he was in a position that he needed to sell this one, and he had another car too that's coming up, which is a pretty sweet ride. But man, I'm showing the same pictures because I only had a few pictures, because that's why it kind of tells me that he might have emailed me these pictures, because there wasn't a lot of them. But look at how straight and solid that car is. I mean, it's just so clean, so well preserved. I just love how crisp and clean this car is, how untouched it seems to be. And this is also in the future. See, look at how thin that paint is. There's no way this car's been repainted, because that's kind of a primer that they used on the cars when they were brand new. And that old school paint, the original paint, it's pretty thick paint. It can endure quite a bit. So that's why I truly feel that this must be, or it seems to be, a survivor car. In a lot of these pictures that you see, if you're watching a lot of my videos, I really wish I could remember where these pictures came from. So, God, that is so cool. It is so cool to see that shaker hood knowing that's only a 344 barrel underneath the hood of that car. I mean, it's just wow. And the interiors, yeah, come on, man. Of course, that's the original interior. Nothing's been taken apart in that car. You've been doing this as long as I have been. Look at the gas pedal. It's all worn out, rusted. If somebody restored this car and then it looks like this, they did a shitty job to begin with. But this car hasn't been taken apart before. There's no way. There's way too many telltale signs. And if you know your cars, I don't care if you're a Mopar expert, a Chevrolet expert, or a fan, this car has not been taken apart before. And I just love that about the car, because it's just like you get to start with something original. So would I have taken that car apart? No, I wouldn't even have touched that car. So now we're getting into the other car that this guy had. Now that just looks like a Cuda. I think it's a 70 Cuda. Yeah, pretty cool looking car. Looks like it's in the middle of a restoration process. You know, gathering the parts. That's what you got to do when you're restoring these cars. You got to gather up all the parts before you go take it apart. You know, you get all the stuff done. It looks like the bodywork's been done on this car. The fenders have been brought down to metal. Sweet, 70 Cuda. Couldn't be much to that. You know, it looks like he's in the middle of, somebody put a lot of block work into getting that car down to the metal. Getting it prepped for primer and body work and stuff. So it's just a regular 70 Cuda. You know, looks like he got a part off of another car for that fender. And, you know, this is what you got to do. This is a classic situation where you're gathering parts. There's nothing fancy about this car. It's just a 70 Cuda. Look at that beautiful grille. It's hard to find those original grills in that condition, but you know, like I said, this is just a 70 Cuda. There's nothing fancy about it. What the heck and top is that? Is that a shaker hood? No, that can't be a shaker hood. This is just a regular 70 Cuda. You got a shaker hood set on top. No, maybe he's going to turn it into a clone. Yeah. Well, the frame's a little banged up. A little bit crusty underneath there, but you know, it's fixable. It's doable. Well, hold on a second here. Hold on a minute here. That hood there, that's an original shaker hood. That looks like it belongs on the car. Oh boy. Something's starting to look fishy here. Nah, I'm just joshing you guys. I know exactly what this car is. The 1970 446 back Cuda. Shaker hood. Look at that. Look at that firewall. It's just beautiful. Actually, it really looks like this car's been media blasted or sandblasted. It doesn't look like it's been dipped. That looks like a 6-pack setup on an original 6-pack intake. Yes. This guy knew how to pick them. 1970 446 pack shaker hood Cuda. Thank you very much. Ta-da. You know, this isn't about me showing you these all kinds of buildings with hundreds of crazy, cool, rare cars in it. That's not what it's about for me. What it's about is finding these cool little mom and pa guys that just, have a couple cars, 2-3 cars, whatever. That's all I ever did. Yeah, I ran into a lot of big collections, but, you know, when you do this for a living, man, look at that. Look at that air cleaner setup. When you do this for a living, the big collections are great, but they're a pain in the ass to deal with because, you know, I'm trying to get back home and I run into a big collection. It's like I got to make that hateful call home. I'm going to be gone for a couple months. I can't get out of this. I have to stay here. And I'm living in my camper van with my trailer parked on somebody's field or on the side of somebody's building or out in the swamp. You know, I'm no complaints. It was a rough life. I got hurt a lot. I got sick a lot. But I stayed out there and I did this for 20 years. Okay, so that says I think that says 850 on the tranny. Let's see what we got next. Can't remember how the pictures went. And there, you know, that's the firewall there. The fender wall. Wow, that's a clean fender wall. It really is. I know I showed that picture before, but it's clean. It looks like you picked up some extra parts. You know, but that's what it's about when you're trying to restore one of these cars. You got to collect all the parts, and then you go get started on it. You know, there's no point trying to start on it and then gather up all the parts. And that's this side of the motor block, and that says 850. So you're trying to tell me what we're looking at right here is a 1970 446 pack shaker hood CUDA. That's all numbers matching? Wait, that says 8502. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's why this guy got this car. This car is rough, it's ugly, it's piled into pieces, but it's 100% numbers matching from front to back. Thanks for coming out and checking out another Tales from the Bush, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our Patreon.